Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Texas Football post-game show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Texas was able to secure the win versus Clemson. What was the final? 24-38? Paul and yeah, somewhere there, but a little bit rocky at times, but overall, this is another game where you didn't feel super threatened. It was a good win, especially a good win at home. I really love the first round playoffs at home thing. That's super cool. So kind of a top line contour. First thoughts, Paul.
Great win. Survive and advance. Good teams win. Great teams cover. So the third favorite to deliver at home. Definitely home field advantage has been felt in all these games. Texas didn't have it with weather. They had it with 62 degrees, but the crowd was definitely engaged. You could see that people were amped up. I thought the staff on offense for Texas did a phenomenal job of preparing. Clearly, they saw some things that they were very confident that they could run the ball on Clemson, and they dropped 292 yards rushing on the Tigers. Blue, that's Jaden Blue we have not seen since last year. He looked explosive. He looked rested. And Trey Wisner played great. Blue had 146 yards. Wisner had 110. A couple of injuries. We'll see what it develops on those and how that goes. I'm optimistic on Majors. We'll see about Cam. I'm not as optimistic there. But phenomenal win at home. It's exciting. This is single elimination format. You survive, you advance. We showed some things on offense we had not shown in quite a while in terms of explosiveness and composure. Very important. Defense needs to figure some stuff out because the entire second half was Jahdae Barron yelling at other guys in the secondary, pointing, basically saying, no, you're not supposed to do that. And there were a couple of guys that I think, lost their composure and got cooked a little bit. So we'll have to work on that. We'll have to fix that. Next up, Arizona State Sun Devils. Bring it.
Drew, what are you thinking?
Hey, we scored 38 points.
Yeah, I'll take that.
That was cool.
How about that? Like, we scored 38 points. We covered another spread. Fun home game. We didn't have to stress too much. Wasn't so excited about our, productivity in the red zone or lack thereof in certain spots, but I mean, the explosiveness was there, and I can't complain about it. Great win. Like you said, Paul, survive and advance. But yeah, this was another just a comfortable game. This team continues to beat who they should, and for the most part, in a stress-free fashion. So I can't complain at all.
Yeah. I mean, look, we after Tennessee plays Ohio State, there's going to be 8 teams left. And then after we take care of Arizona State, there's going to be 4. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah, I need to watch Arizona State. I only watched them versus Texas State to open the year.
They actually fell behind in that game and rallied late to win it. They were a team that improved all season. We'll have plenty of time to preview and talk about them, but let's just say that they are not a good matchup for Texas in terms of matchups.
No.
Also aren't as talented. And that's a bad double whammy. If you're going to not be as talented, at least have good matchups, right? They don't have either. So this was the game I was more concerned about. And frankly, Texas more than delivered against Clemson. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, average 6.1 yards per rush. When Jaden Blue hit that home run, I'm like, man, that's what we've been missing all year long, man. I just want to see one of those, That was great to see.
He can get you that around the edge, and you just got to get him there. If you can get him to that edge, it's like he sees daylight and he hits another gear.
The offensive line, Drew, I don't know what you thought, but they were phenomenal.
Yes.
Tackles in particular, just amazing job of pinning guys. In football, like sometimes they ask you to do things on offense that if on defense, if you allow it to happen, it will get you benched.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were repeatedly pinning the Clemson defensive ends and linebackers and basically just creating that huge hole where the running back had the option of cutting it up and in for 8 or elongating it and then using their long speed as Jaden Blue did on 2 runs. Kelvin Banks dominated TJ Parker. And TJ Parker's going to play in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah.
That was a crazy matchup to watch.
I mean, Kelvin Banks, I don't know if you noticed, but you could see when a pass rusher is not getting it done because they'll just eventually stop trying to pass rush and they'll just kind of lock up with the guy and like put their arms up and like try to bat down the ball because they realize they can't get around him or through him. I mean, I thought Kelvin Banks had a great matchup with him physically, and he more than delivered. He just dominated that guy.
Yeah, I got a text during the game asking how much does Texas have to pay to get Kelvin Banks to return for his senior season.
No chance.
Can we match a top 10 NFL draft pick contract? I don't think so.
Yeah. No chance. Well, especially to be injured, right? And do all of that. To lose right tackle and a center, and I still felt really comfortable with what we were doing.
Pancake factory, man.
Depth is nice.
Yeah, it sure is. But you never know, man. When your center goes down, it can go to hell quick.
Yeah. No, I mean, we learned who the true second string center was today.
Yeah, Connor, right?
It's Connor. Yeah. And he did a good job. I mean, I think center may actually be his more natural position. If he can level up. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, didn't miss a stride. Cole Hudson played pretty well. I didn't have a chance to really look at him. But there was one play on the screen that got blown up where he pancaked Peter Woods. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor, we won.
Maybe folk will get off yours back now.
Connor's just like, we're going to win the national title. And Connor will be like, I don't know. I wasn't really happy with some of the stuff. And
no, it's more.
I felt like we took our foot off the gas and we let Penn State back in the game, but we did win by 20 and we won the national title.
Honestly, that would actually, I'm going to do that. If we win the national championship, I will nitpick.
I can't believe Manny Muhammad missed that ball. Like that's how can you
make a missed opportunity? No, it's I do think you go down 7-0, right? And what's everybody thinking? It could be all over the place, right? I mean, you're down 7-0. Okay, you just got to go back and score. The way that we responded on both sides of the ball, just to get that deficit, to build on that, to come back, tie the game up, and build on that to go into halftime. And that was in spite of just missed opportunities. We were up 28-10, in spite of some missed opportunities, just not taking points on fourth down. That's something I think we got to continue to work on is our fourth down conversions, our short yardage plays. It just doesn't feel like we know in the way we should. We went right back to Jared Gibson right up the gut on the second time around, and it didn't work. And I don't know. That was something that I feel like we just need to button that up. We tried something different with Arch Manning. He actually dropped back to pass. It wasn't available, and he used his legs to get out and get a first down. I'm sure we need to continue to develop what we do with him on short yardage plays because the zone read portion of it, they're going to be ready for it. Anybody's going to be ready for it at this point. So I'm proud of how we bounced back after going down to that 7-0 deficit. It didn't necessarily shock me, but I'm just happy we executed on that. But this was also the first game where I felt like we got up multiple scores and we were in control and our defense was in control and we were able to just control the game from there. So cover the spread, control the game. I really can't complain. I appreciate the way we closed out the first half.
I agree with everything you said. One thing that I thought was really refreshing and obviously something, again, we saw multiple times we ran the ball on 3rd and long. 4 first downs. That was our first touchdown. Trey Wisner had a long run on a 3rd and long. Jarrett Gibson had a long 3rd and long conversion late in the game. Jaden Blue had a long run on a 3rd and 6, something like that. So something about how Clemson was getting up the field or some of their stunts and stuff, Sark thought that we could catch them running outside zone, and we did that repeatedly. And handing the ball off and getting explosives is the best thing in football. Like, like there's no risk. You wear down and demoralize the other team, and you basically create easy yardage and opportunities just by doing some of the simple things in football. And that's a great place to put your offense. And yeah, the offense just played really well.
And Wisner's not far from getting his 1,000 yards.
He's close.
So Sark's going to pull it off again. We didn't know about midseason if he was going to get his 1,000-yard rusher. Looks like he will.
Yeah, he's over 900 right now, right?
Yeah. He's not far. I think he's like 30 yards off or something. Can we run the ball on Arizona State like that, Paul?
I'm not promising you 292 yards, but yeah, we can run the ball in Arizona State.
Okay. How will we run it in the third quarter, Paul?
I don't know. We're going to have to watch the game.
I can look at
Connor will be upset no matter what occurs.
It's I'm not upset. I'm actually just kind of tired. I felt fine about that game. It kind of felt like Vanderbilt-y when they come back. I'm like, they're not going to win. There's like no point of getting stressed.
At no point during that game did I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
I was irritated a couple of times, but
yeah, I didn't feel
like, oh no, the game's in doubt.
Yeah. Is Jake Majors in concussion protocol? I do not know.
He was moving around on the sideline and doing stuff, and they wouldn't let someone in who they think has a concussion do that, I don't think.
Okay. I have no idea. Check InsideTexas.com. We'll have updates there.
If he complains about a concussion, we should put him in a poorly lit storage unit.
Yeah. Text going off. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the first round of playoffs so far?
We don't need 12 teams. I know why it's being done. I wish, Austin, Texas is making money off of it. Yeah. Kudos to Austin, Texas. But we don't need 12 teams in this thing. There are some people who are like, Alabama should have been in this. It's like Alabama lost to OU on the road. Like, if we just cut out the extra fat, I think we'll be fine. But that's not happening. We'll go to 14 before we go to 8. So that's what we got.
I also think that all the conventional wisdom on the ACC was proven correct. I think all the opinions on Indiana were correct too. Like, they can't level up. There was a difference when you saw them play Ohio State. You could see the difference. You saw it again when they played Michigan, and Michigan was not very good. But Indiana had to sort of hold on to win that game. And then you saw them against Notre Dame in the first few minutes, and you were like, yeah, that score says 10, but that 10-point gap felt like the Texas A&M game. It felt like, it was a 10-point win, but it felt like 28.
Yeah, I agree. I like the atmospheres, though. I think that's
great. I just think Drew's right. And the sad thing is, unfortunately, they're going to probably expand it.
That's true. It is probably, there's no way they're cutting it down.
It's going to 14 or 16.
Yeah, there's no shot. Quinn balled out in the first half. I thought Quinn's deep balls this game, it didn't always complete because of wide receiver stuff, but I thought Quinn looked a lot more accurate deep too. I liked that a lot.
It's hard to say Quinn looked a lot more accurate when you have Cade Klubnik on the other side, just putting them in the bucket.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, multiple times. And yes, Quinn balled hands down. Not doubting that, but man, it's rare that I envy the other quarterback. And today was one of those days I was like, man, he's throwing a nice ball and consistent too. Just it's in a nice spot. Our DBs really didn't get as many chances to get their hands on balls to make plays on it. Kudos to Cade Klubnik for what he put together today. But yeah, Quinn did his thing for sure.
What do you think, Paul? What do you think of Quinn's performance?
I mean, no turnovers from Quinn. DeAndre Moore had a turnover, but it gets credited to Quinn.
Yeah,
that's one of the shames of box scores, right? People are gonna be like, he's still throwing picks. It's like, no, he didn't throw a pick. He threw a ball that hit DeAndre Moore in the hands, and then DeAndre volleyball said it. And so I look, no turnovers, no fumbles. He had to go. Okay, so like the self-sacking drives me crazy. He had to play early in the game where he bailed out into the pressure. Like he could see DJ Campbell had the guy walled off inside. So instead of step up, he bailed into the pressure and got sacked. So DJ Campbell, again, he gets he's going to get the knock on that sack. Later in the game, do you guys remember when he was rolling out and he just slid?
Yeah.
Instead of throwing it away.
Sark was heated.
Our pal Joe Cook was at the game, and I guess he's watching Sark, and Sark lost his mind. So, but look, if that's the extent of our negative plays with Quinn, I'll take it because it's not a fumble, it's not a pick six. He played very composed. He made very good throws.
Yeah,
several good throws that he was not rewarded for. Right? Mm-hmm. Good God, Terrell is the handsiest cornerback in college football. Like,
yeah,
that dude had 3 PIs, and he probably could have had 2 more.
I haven't seen refs that uninvolved in a while. Like, I honestly loved it, but I don't feel like the refs were involved at all. Like until it took till the third quarter, right, to get a penalty flag.
I really like when they let the DBs jack up the receivers, but once the ball's in the air, you can't grab like the receiver's hands. Like that's where I draw the line. Drew's like, nah, we should let that go. But
you know what? I'm good with all that. I'm perfectly fine with it. But these pick plays, man.
The picks are crazy.
Oh, we got to talk about that. Yeah, because those meshes, those receivers weren't even trying to run a route. I mean, they were literally, Manny was trying to get to him. He stopped his route, jumped in front of him, and then blocked him.
Burning Stool pass blocked him.
Yeah, it's like,
and it was actually
like, you gotta
I thought it was
Manny.
Man. I thought it was Manny. It's Gilbo that got picked.
Yeah,
but Burning Stool pass blocks him as he's trying to get by. Like, that is ridiculous. And then they ran that same play again when Taff had the big hit. Exact same play. Unfortunately, Taff, they'd walked him up on safety. And so the pick worked, but Taff was standing there and delivered the big hit. And that was good for him because I don't know if you guys noticed early in the game, he missed 2 or 3 tackles.
Yeah, he missed a couple misses. I
mean,
on
that big run they had, it was Taff.
Hey, man, those are some big backs. It's rare that I've seen Taff step in the hole and I just see like the size discrepancy. I was like, you know what? I'm not saying Taff had a second thought there, but he didn't go down there with a head full of steam with that same intent. There was a little bit of a slide tackle he was going for as opposed to putting his body on the guy. Not what we're used to seeing, but yeah, you're right. He did get caught on a few misses there against some of those bigger backs.
Yeah, they have huge backs.
Next week,
he definitely picked a side to tackle on that one. He did not try to go heads up.
Well, you know what's crazy about that back, Drew? He's a converted wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's a true freshman. Clemson was down, and so they're like, all right, well, you're Deebo Samuel today. And the guy went out. I mean, he looked great, like a very athletic guy. I'm going to ask you guys, what was interesting to me about Clemson, and it's something I noticed when I watched them coming in. I was like kind of studying them, and I just said, like, you can identify who their studs are, but they're less than the sum of their parts on defense. Like, I don't understand what's off about that D. Do you have a theory about this, Drew, watching them? Is it like there's something off on these dudes? Is it coordination? Is it tackling? Is it they don't know how to line up? What's going on?
They got 2 guys on the line who look good. They have a solid linebacking core, and they got DBs. So it's like, yeah, what is the issue?
I feel like there's a lot of guys doing their job, but not necessarily disrupting plays. You have to have some disruptive plays. I mean, tackles for loss and sacks have been an issue for us for weeks. And these guys they couldn't find a way against us. Did they look like they were having their, disciplined pass rush lanes? Yes. Were they disciplined in some ways on the way that they fit the run, outside of just, Jaden Blue or certain guys just making a guy miss in the hole? Sure. But they did not rack up sacks or tackles for losses in the ways that we've seen. And I think they just don't have any guys who are just going to consistently win a one-on-one somewhere along the line of scrimmage on each and every play or out in space. Like that's a huge difference. I just don't feel like they're disruptive in that way.
You know, what's interesting, Drew, is they'd been a feast or famine defense all year. Like they had thrived on turnover creation and negative plays. And I think the guys that instigate that for them happen to be matched on our best players on the O-line. And so they just got negated. And then I think their jags got exposed. Like, okay, now you have to make a play. And I think that is the difference between really good defenses and more opportunistic defenses. Baron Sorrell, by the way, played a great game.
Yeah, he did.
That dude is physical, man.
Yes, he is.
There are guys who are just playing their position, and there are guys who are going to make you work. He makes the offensive line, whoever's blocking him has to work every down. He's big, he's physical, he gets off blocks. He's not just going to settle for his gap. He will get off a block. He will shed you. He'll get upfield. He just, you got to play him every play. He's a tough guy to face every single down. And when the ball comes his way, he'll get nasty. He'll get off blocks. He'll make an explosive play. He'll light somebody up. And that's just, man, this is a great year for him overall.
I agree. Speaking of kind of what you were talking about with Clemson, I thought we went through a period on defense where we were far too concerned with containment rather than pass rush. And that was at the time that Clemson's dropping back and Cade Klubnik is dropping dimes, right? I think that we got a little overly concerned with his legs and him leaving the pocket versus the risk reward of a quarterback hurting you with 25 and 30-yard completions, right?
Right.
And so I don't know what that passivity was about, but it didn't match what was happening in the second quarter where we were bringing it. and you know, one of the ways to prevent a quarterback hurting you with his legs is blitz to contain. Like, get back in there and, respect your lanes. Don't just run randomly up the field, but bring that extra guy and you'll end up with pressure or a sack or a hit or a batted ball that leads to an interception. I thought we got a little passive, and I think we paid for it. And partly because Cade Klubnik threw some amazing balls, like on the move too. Like these are not easy throws.
But he's decisive too.
Yeah.
So even on his short drops, I mean, he's getting rid of the ball. So you can send your guys head full of steam upfield, but he can either use his legs or he's getting rid of the ball and decisive, accurate. And I mean, I don't know why we were rushing for contain or why we just weren't getting after it. There are a couple times I screamed at the TV, just like, get home, just get home, go, just get home. We got to try to get home. But he does such a good job of just making those quick throws too. Maybe guys were just anticipating he may get rid of the ball. It was weird to not see us just go after it. I think we've done a really good job of coming off blocks in those situations, but also tracking and scraping and allowing our linebackers to come up and make those plays in space. I don't feel like we unleashed everything we could have today, but maybe that was just within the game plan.
Cool. All right, for a quick word from Academy before we keep going, fellas.
This is the start of something fun. The kind that's best had outdoors. Where family gathers, and adventure awaits. The good tidings that make for even better times. And with the right stuff at the right price, the most wonderful time of year happens here. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
All right. Got some good comments. Appreciate you, Coach, for tuning in. Quinn played great. He had one poor throw. I agree. That was on the third down. That was the only time with Quinn where I was like, shucks. But other than that, I thought he had a really good game, especially to be injured. And are they getting paid by this ankle brace company? Because now they're even saying the name of it. They're like, it's the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are giving a lot of promo on this ankle bracelet.
It's
this
weird.
feels like watching a major news network with the pharmaceutical commercials.
Yeah. Yeah, they like keep saying, and at first they were just like, it's a really innovative ankle brace from Notre Dame, and now they're saying the brand name before.
It's starting to be some conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I am not totally suspicious, but I'm a little suspicious.
It's a weird obsession. It is one of those weird obsessions that every season, and this is like the last few games, but there's just like this trend where they have to report on the ankle bracelet or on the ankle. It's one thing if you report on the ankle. You're bringing up the fact that he didn't wear it. Now he has it back on. He didn't have it in warm-ups. You're saying that every week it's one of those things.
And then they throw up the Amazon link, and you're like, hey.
I know, pretty much.
QR code.
And you can get them just in time for Christmas.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. And so that's what, I just feel like the sideline reporters don't really have much to do besides report injuries. So they just get super focused on it. Did Taft finish the game?
Yes.
Yeah. He made the play to end it, right?
Something
weird happened after
that. I mean, played the last play there.
I think their linebackers are athletic. I think they could be misdirected. I noticed it a couple of times on outside zone. We had a little dummy motion going the other way. The guy, I did not play much linebacker in organized football, but one of the rules of linebacking, at least in my day, was you don't just watch the backfield. You have to watch the blocking, and that will take you to the ball. And they were following just like,
which is the worst thing you can do against a Sarkisian offense.
They were following Golden on like an orbit motion. It's like, so yeah.
It helped them on a couple of those screens because they were so locked in.
Yeah.
But on the run plays, they were just getting caught in the mud. It just wasn't working.
Connor laughs at me, but I keep calling for the old school traditional middle screen to the running back, like NFL style. And we did that today, and it worked really well. I mean, because I think people are expecting the screens out on the edges, and they're jumping them. So,
I said in the group chat, that throwback screen seems to have really lost its power this season.
It was good in week 4.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's called the Sark screen. So it's literally gotten so famous that I feel like coaches don't let him do his signature screen,
Well, I've seen it in other games. I was watching a FCS game that I had money on, and UC Davis ran that screen.
Dude, Texas State ran it versus Arizona State.
Yeah, with Mahdi.
Yeah, it's become a thing, but I feel like they're he's not doing it to us. That's what it feels like.
If you're not expecting it, it's super effective. If you are expecting it, it's -6.
Yeah.
Well, there's always a missed block on the edge. You got to block it up. It takes long to develop. In some ways,
that block for an offensive tackle in that space with that amount of time, like a dude like you who's crazy quick, you would just run by him. You're not going to take on the tackle. Like, I'm going to play my, you just run by him, right? And go.
That's the best way to blow it up. I mean, if you're just waiting to fit it, that's not how you.
You're not supposed to honor the fit outside out there, right? So, I mean, it's a screen that if it's legitimately, it takes someone by surprise. It's a great play, but it's not taking people by surprise anymore because that they're drilling that on film sessions.
Yeah. What's up, Nick? Big Wayne, baby. Yep.
Absolutely.
You know what else? You know what else, Paul, stood out to me? We did it again, and we did it for the cover too. The goal line stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
The goal line stand. I mean,
hey, let's talk about those 2 play calls, Drew. Is Clemson the Aggie of South Carolina?
I'll say it's just like A&M.
You hope that's what you hope they do. Those are literally the plays you hope they run.
I mean, they have a 6'6" tight end that was hurting us. Kate Clemson is super athletic. Have him take 2 steps forward like it's a draw, and then just flip it. I love it, man. I love that they try to power us.
If that's what you want to do, I'm all for it.
That's coaching ego right there. That's ego ball where you're like, we can get
more guilty of it too. We were guilty of it too, going for it in that way. But not on the goal line, but also, I mean, misdirect. There's so many options. This defensive line, the rule is you're not going to lose. You're not going to get beat on the ground.
Yeah.
Get off your blocks, get penetration, go make a play. If they do misdirection, if they do anything else, we'll hand clap, tip the cap, whatever. No, we're just going to try to run it off tackle, off guard, whatever. It just no. And you see who was in the game for that too. David Benda was in there coming downhill. I mean, what do you think the game plan is? They put David Benda in there.
He's going to fire into a gap.
Let's go. There's only one way to go when he's in the game.
Yep. I think that's very astute.
Yeah, that's Texas defense had kind of a rough game, but when we got that stop again, I was like, oh, all right, there we go. That's what we do. That was nice to see.
Yeah, Bill Norton did his thing too. I see Chris Jones there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is Klubnik always this good?
No, he's not. In fact, other teams gave Clemson's passing game and their offense a lot of trouble. I mean, if you're an Inside Texas reader, I detailed it all. Their last 5 games, they're averaging 23.4 points per game against defenses not as good as ours. I kind of withdrew. I think Klubnik just played an amazing football game, and he started feeling it. He got comfortable. We weren't bringing quite the heat the way we were earlier, and he just started dicing us up. I mean, some of the throws he made are not defensible.
Yeah,
on the sideline, that
some of those fades, man.
I mean, and these aren't back shoulder. Like he's hitting the guy in the hands as he's going out of bounds. Like that's not. You could yell at the defensive back all you want. There's not a lot that guy can do about it.
Yeah, it was fun to see the old spread back and win. But it was Ian was talking about it all week that he was nervous.
Ian, we're making fun of him all this week because he was a big scaredy cat.
Ian was scared that this was going to be a potential upset. What did he pick on Roundtable? Did he end up going with the Texas win?
He said Texas would win by 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know he was worried about
scoring. Does not trust certain elements of our offense.
Yeah.
So,
and the offense delivered, man. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, the offense did a good job. Sark says Majors and Wisner were held out for precautionary reasons.
Great.
And he added
great
the
UT.
Yeah, he added the UT. Very good work there. Let's see. Yeah, great win. Found a way to overcome injuries. I thought that was important.
Think about losing your tackle and your center for us 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it would have been over.
I mean, the game would have been
over. Even last year, like we lost our center versus OU, and it went to hell.
Oh, God, you're not lying.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, when Majors went down, I was like, oh, no, because like that's a totally different – that's your guy setting protections. Like you're not just losing an athlete. You're losing the mind of the line. That was important that we were able to kind of keep going there. Garrett Riley air raid run by Klubnik is a difficult offense to defend. Hats off to Clemson. I agree.
It's not hard to defend on the goal line.
Yeah.
I do think we have 2 weeks to prepare, look at film, understand tendencies. They were going to find some offense. But we're been in no break though. I mean, at the end of the day, can you complete the longer drives? And they did find those explosive plays to make those drives happen. But for the most part, driving the length of the field, 3rd and longs, they couldn't make it happen without some of the explosive plays. And I think they actually did a great job of finding some of those explosive plays. Mm-hmm. Clemson on the field. Looking at the field, their receivers, their tight ends, like they have specimen, like bodies that look like guys that, man, we don't have guys that are that big on the edges. Like the receivers and the tight ends, they had a few bodies out there. I was like, man, these are some good-looking athletes, good-looking guys making plays in space, but just big bodies. So they made us work a bit, but, gave up 24. Good for them.
Yeah. That was the Ego Bowl sponsored by Hubris. We're lucky that's our worst quarterback matchup.
Is it?
Yeah, who's left? Gabriel?
Maybe, yeah. If we see him, that would be the best quarterback we'd play. Just his experience is ridiculous, right? And Oregon's got very good receivers. Different style than Clemson's, but good nonetheless. The Sam Levitt guy for Arizona State physically looks a lot like Klubnik, plays like him. He's very mobile. He was actually kind of an underrated key to their team and their offense. He's like a athletic system quarterback, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he looks like Klubnik. He can move around, he can run. He just doesn't have that refinement, and he does not have the receivers. Arizona State's receiving room is a wasteland. They lost their stud. He's gone for the year. It's going to be Cam Scatabo. And I don't see how you can just run the ball for 4 quarters and beat Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize they lost their receivers. I'm excited to watch them.
He's their big dude. He was their 1,000-yard receiver. All their other receivers combined were like 600 yards.
Man.
So
I did not know that. I feel much better now. I'm excited to watch them.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Before we keep going, if you're like me, we said on the pregame show, I still have not done my Christmas shopping, and I like to live on the edge. Well, luckily, I can just go down to my local academy, actually not far from here, about 2 miles, and I can get all the gifts. You can get it for grandma, mom, dad, son, anything, guys. So you can do hunting gear, tailgating gear, family gathering essentials, and camping. And you can shop your way online at academy.com or in store. And that's free 1 hour in-store or curbside pickup. So also you can just place and go hang out in the parking lot, and they'll bring it to you. Also, same-day delivery with DoorDash. So if you don't even want to fight the crowds, you'll be all good. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to go to Academy, get a bunch of stuff. I got this watch at Academy a little while ago. The most wonderful time of the year starts here, Paul and Drew. Academy Sports Indoors. Have fun out there. Okay, chat. Let's see where we're at. Back-to-back Big 12 championship opportunity with Arizona State coming up. Yeah, that's
something to be proud of.
Yeah, apparently.
Josh Holden in the chat wants to know, is that a Casio watch?
No, it is a Koros.
Nice.
It's a runner's watch. Designed for that. But I just broke
You like to time your splits?
I do not time all my splits end up being negative splits because I'm slow, but I do go on the app after and go like, all right, baby. All right.
No?
I go, all right, it's getting a little better. But no, I'm not like the guys that can actually time their splits well. Yeah, I won't. Better not let the chicks see that unless you got a big stick to beat them off with. Yeah, I do have to be careful. All right, let's get some negativity in here. All right, Baracho, Sark is predictable with his personnel and formations at times. Yeah, I mean, but also he's hyper creative too. It's like I don't feel like I ever formationally have a problem with Sark. I feel like sometimes I expected that run, but I feel like there's also not. It's either going to be a run or a pass. So 50% of the time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, of course, you're going to be like, I predicted that run. Okay, flip a coin.
So I do kind of laugh when people are like, I can tell it's a run. I can tell it's a pass. It's like, okay, which run or which pass? Because that's kind of relevant.
They don't all go to the same gap.
Like when Drew was playing defense, he knew it was going to be a run or a pass on every down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he had to figure out which of them.
Right.
And you might know it's a pass. Where on the field is the pass?
That's the funniest thing because I remember playing. There used to be a rule. I'm sure they still do this at high school level and everything else too. Anytime it was a pass play, everyone on the sideline is supposed to scream, pass. I'm like, that has nothing to do with actually reading the routes, doing your assignment. But anyway, I would hate to be.
If you ever coach your kids or coach kids like in youth football, it's very helpful to tell them when it's a pass.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the corners are just taking off up the field looking for a tackle, and you're like, "Hey, the guy running the route, run with him."
No, he isn't creative inside.
At safety, you're always keying the tackle if nobody else, just to get your pass run read. by the time you get that read, you're not hearing anything else.
Yeah.
He isn't creative inside the 10. So anything like short yardage, it's
Oh my gosh.
you ideally don't want to be creative. Like you want to just be able to line up and run it. So it's like I get like some of the stuff where I've heard a couple times the comments are like, man, why are we doing the Arch package? It's hyper predictable. So it's kind of calling back to the Rojo package where you're like, hey, Rojo was a quarterback, let him throw kind of thing a couple years ago. So, but also like if Sark, I remember this is where Sark can't win with me. Whenever we brought in Murphy or whoever, it was Murphy or Sweat into Wyoming game. And that I was like, dude, if we have to get this cute to run the ball in. So it's like either way, Sark kind of win there. Like you don't want him to be that creative inside the 10. You want him to just be able to line up and run over guys. So sometimes it's predictable, but sometimes it's still like you still got to stop it, you know?
Well, and also recall before Ewers got hurt early in the year, we were throwing the ball quite a bit inside the 10.
Yeah.
We were throwing, and he was throwing it on a line, right?
Yep.
And we had that little sprint play to Golden. We had, I think Ewers lost a little zip. And I think we've scaled back on that. But now that he's feeling better, and we're going to have another 10 days till Arizona State, right?
We get 10 days. It's not just immediately on Saturday.
No.
I didn't know that.
That's more time to get comfortable, more time to install stuff. We might see some Ewers throwing it around in the red zone against the Sun Devils. So we'll see.
Dude, when him and Golden time up that out in the red zone, you can't defend it. Like if he throws it well, yeah, like you can't beat that play. So
you knew it was coming and Gibson was in. Yes, that's why Gibson's in. He's running out the clock. We are running the ball, man.
He's also a power back, so it's like, yeah, he's gonna run forward. We're bringing him in to do that. We're not doing it.
We're lined up in the pistol, and we're up by 14, and there's 4 minutes left in the game, and there's 2 tight ends. We're running the ball. That's right.
Maybe King Von fan.
Is this sarcasm?
Maybe Sark should use Arch more in goal line situations. It is weird how there's no sequencing, right? Like Arch will come in on the second down, he's out. He can't be in for the third. There's not like he doesn't come in for first, second, and third. You know,
I hate it.
I think if you're gonna do it, like let him have a whole series with Arch. You know,
let's just let Quinn run the quarterback drop.
If you want it, you want him dead. True.
It'll confuse them.
They never see it coming.
They would never see it coming. He had a run today that was nice because
he converted a 3rd and 3 with his legs. That was nice.
Yeah. But it's also just Sarkis had to acquiesce to the quarterback run.
Oh, we got some Billy Luigi commentary.
Luigi, you make him super Italian. Lucci.
Billy Lucci.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll hit that in 1 second.
It wasn't the last. It wasn't the first goal line stop. A&M wasn't the first goal line stop Texas had. Clemson wasn't the first. This is what this defense has been doing. But hey,
this is the world through Aggie eyes, right? Only the things that happen against A&M are relevant.
Dabo didn't watch the A&M game. Clearly, Clemson would have won if they had an even worse red zone offense.
That's right. They would have scored there. They would have gotten the onside kick.
Well, remember, they would have won if two things. If they would have ran outside, they would have won. And if Le'Veon Moss was healed, they would have also won.
If Le'Veon Moss was in on that goal line, he would have run through Vernon Broughton, run through Alfred Collins, run through David Benda, and scored.
That was the A&M thing.
Bo Jackson couldn't have done that, but Le'Veon Moss did.
Man.
Billy's not an idiot. Billy's actually a cool guy. The times I've talked to him a couple of times, he's solid. Billy knows exactly what he's doing on Twitter. I'll let you guys know. Billy knows exactly what he's doing. Billy behind the scenes, a couple of times we spoke, he's actually been a really cool guy, even helpful in a couple of ways. So he knows exactly how to get those engagements up. He's a pro. He does good there.
Oh man.
Clemson just ran out of time. Yeah, that's true.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
6 more quarters.
Yeah. It's yeah, that was nice. That goal line stop, we needed that kind of emotionally, apparently, as a Twitter fan base at that moment in time. That was very important. I think Bill Norton's made a couple plays this season after a slow start that's really been awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice push. Very boring to talk about. Yeah, exactly. But it's meat and potatoes, man. Like he timed that guy up. He even gave him the whole, like he baited him a little bit. He waited. And the back was like, "Oh, I got this," and then Norton just threw him, got right in front of him. I thought Norton's done a couple of times where you watch and you're like, pretty nice. Does he get to return? Is his?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we ended up in retrospect filling our needs in the portal at defensive tackle and did it a lot more inexpensively than some of our rivals.
Yeah. I thought he's been impressive. Anybody else on? Oh, the chat has asked several times about how do we feel about Manny's game. Wasn't a good game, right?
I mean, everybody has a game, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I saw a comment here that said, did Manny get exposed? I mean, has he not been exposed this year? He's been exposed to defenders to receivers all year, and he's defending them well. I mean, there are games like this, especially in desperation, especially when the team just keeps coming at you. It happens.
Yeah, they game planned him. Like, yeah.
I mean, between slot, I guess there was a slot fade. I mean, there was a few different just good routes and good spot with a great receiver, great ball placement. It happens. They weren't launching it over his head for TDs multiple times. But, yeah, getting some pass plays or getting a receiver open and getting the ball to him, hey, good for them. I hope Arizona State believes that Manny is exposed and he's someone they can pick on next week.
Well, what's your point, right? So, like, Clemson's two outside guys have been they've been making this goal to try to get it to him. So, who are you going to throw at? The Thorpe winner or Manny Muhammad? It's like you're going to throw at Manny Muhammad. It's not like this huge disrespect thing. It's like you're probably not going to throw a bunch at Jade because he's going to intercept it.
I mean, our pal Rod Babers has talked about this, right? When you're lined up across from Quentin Jammer, Rod's getting thrown at.
Right. Yeah.
Rod was really good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What's the alternative?
When you play DB, unless you're prime Darrell Revis, prime Deion Sanders, you're going to have bad games. Like, it's just built into the position. You got to forget it and wash it. I would say the concerning plays for me were not the great ball placement catches on the sideline. There were a couple of stop routes or comebacks where one of the things you can watch in a kind of a corner to see how elite he is, how quickly does he recover when he's backpedaling or turning his hips, and then there's a stop or a comeback. And I thought Manny took a couple of extra steps than you would like before he gets it turned around and goes and makes the tackle. So that was interesting to me. That was more concerning to me than the perfect fades on the sideline.
What does that feel like, Drew, where you're just having a rough game? You know they're going at you. Like, what is that? What is that? Drew played a lot of, he's the only one that played. Who I want to ask you, Paul, from our high school days?
You know, it really – there's two different ways to go about it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're already wired for a short-term memory. But when the people around you kind of have your back, that makes it a bit easier. Because everybody takes L's. You can look at the film on any given day. I mean, Anthony Hill, I can't remember what game it was early this year, but I remember we all looked and we're like, that was his first game. Like, is this what we're gonna see?
Mississippi
we freaked out because we actually saw a bad game from him. And we hadn't seen it since, you know. So it's just one of those things. You're gonna have those games. You just gotta know and believe. And Manny has the moxie, the confidence, the talent, where I don't think this is a game he's concerned about whatsoever. But I also don't think this is anything the team is going to be concerned about or anything we should be concerned about. This isn't. They're not just going to attack Manny moving forward in the playoffs.
I liked it. We needed to get tested on the secondary.
Yes.
I love that there's going to be tons of tape where it's like, look, y'all have been getting pats on the back all season because you earned it. But it's like, the DBs now are going to have to be like, okay, we're not invincible.
Well, it's good for them to know there are quarterbacks out there in the wild who can make throws.
Right.
Because they've been playing some quarterbacks who cannot.
Yeah.
And Carson Beck can theoretically make a bunch of throws, but they get in his head pretty well. I think it's going to be interesting, man. There's no dominant team. Like Texas can win the national title.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Ask Clad if he remembers his bad game against Kelson. He probably can't. Clad has been upset today on Twitter. He went back at Lane Kiffin for making fun of the games being bad. Clad has been very active today on Twitter. Yeah.
Clat is not of the elitist cloth, if you will.
Yeah.
So he is a bit more supportive of everyone. Everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a spot in the college football playoff. Trademarked by our own Paul Watlington. But yeah, I think that's just where he stands. He thinks this model should work and everyone should have a shot. I think at the end of the day, when we look at this playoff for the next several years, the final 4 teams are going to be one of 6 teams probably that we would have guessed would have been the final 4 teams every year.
Eyes of Texas, cold-blooded. Any transfer portal targets at Clemson? Indiana? I have no idea, but Inside Texas will hook you up. No, Eric and Justin and Charlie are constantly working on the portal stuff.
Yeah, Clemson's got some guys I'd like.
But 100%. I don't think they're going in the portal. I'll take Parker. I'll take who's that receiver Moore.
Well, I'll take Wesco. They're not going to the portal, and Clemson actually should be pretty good next year. They'll be improved because they were a fairly young team at some spots.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And then we have Tennessee is about to get ran out of Ohio. Do y'all have the game pulled up? I do not.
I'm watching.
What's the score?
Is Nico freaking out?
It's 7-0, but when you're letting Will Howard throw the ball downfield on you, multiple drives, game's over.
It does help that he's throwing it to Jeremiah Smith.
Well, and Emeka Egbuka just caught a deep ball too.
Hey, have you watched Jeremiah Smith at all this year, Drew?
He's sick, man. I don't know why they don't go to him more.
I mean, I don't believe you.
I feel like Wingo's gotten more targets than Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith starts.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He is a freak.
He's different.
Yeah, he's a different dude.
I mean, there's Ryan Williams, there's Jeremiah Smith, and I would probably take Jeremiah Smith.
So he's got 57 catches for 934 yards and 10 touchdowns. So
okay,
he does get the ball, but not enough.
I feel like he had it much earlier in the season. Later in the season, where I feel like I've been watching more Ohio State as we've gotten closer to the playoffs, just like, where is Jeremiah Smith? Why are they not getting this kid the ball?
Yeah,
It's
he's a Florida kid, and I mean, obviously, everyone knows the talent-rich states. Texas has a great tradition, puts out elite talent, but sometimes it just seems like a little more often than not, it's these random Florida guys that are just like, who are you? Where did you come from? Like,
isn't it because like, don't they say too that like we overdevelop in Texas? So like you get these Florida guys that are like still a little bit raw, and then they just go like super crazy once they get like college development.
They get like 3 square meals a day.
Yeah.
And like lift weights. Some of these guys like are coming from very different conditions, right?
Yeah. I heard like Florida doesn't have all the periods of football that Texas has, and
Texas, Texas, because of overdevelopment, you have your personal trainer when you're 12. Like that's a part of. That's not everybody, obviously, but it does fool some people who aren't very good at projecting ceiling, and I think you'll see some of the recruiting services get burned on those guys. But Texas has dudes out in East Texas who look a lot like those Florida guys who are growing up in like sugarcane fields and stuff, chasing rabbits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Ohio State's wide receiver run is like incredible.
It's wild.
Aren't they about to get the next generational receiver too?
It's basically Derek Jeter and women.
Yeah, they just hit after
no L's.
No L's.
No L's.
14-0.
Man. Oh man.
So whoever wins, who do they play? Tennessee, Ohio State. Who's their
Oregon.
Yes.
Okay. So Notre Dame, Georgia,
Penn State, Boise State, Texas, Arizona State.
Penn State's in.
Gosh, man.
So that's what people are pointing out is, Texas and Penn State, if they can get over the first round, and both did, that second round probably is an easier opponent than the first, which kind of shows you the whole seeding of this.
Yeah, the system doesn't make much sense. Yeah, when Clemson's ranked 16th technically, but they're 12.
So here's my solution. If you want to make this more fun, because they're not going to make the playoffs smaller, Drew, as much as you and I would like that.
No.
I think you seed. You don't do anything. You reward conference champions with a spot in the playoff. That's your reward.
Right. That's
like
it.
Big 12, you didn't belong. You don't belong in the playoff. So your reward is you got a spot. You seed, and then you let people draft their opponent. That is my.
Make sure you turn it into a TV show, a 30-minute.
And you have to have someone get up and
Yes.
they point to Drew as the Texas representative and say, "We want Texas."
I do like the forcing them to call people
he
out.
runs towards them, they hold him back, and they're like, "No, not here, Drew. Do it on the field." And you build it up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. You know, there was the camera last year. So last year's playoff announcements. Remember when the camera was in the conference room when Michigan saw they were playing Alabama?
Yes.
And everybody was like, "Oh, they're not sure they wanted Bama."
Yeah.
They just need to do the same thing, but imagine the reaction if you say, "No, we're going to play. We choose you."
Yeah.
And at some point that for a 13 seed or 11 seed is going to upset someone in their crib. It's going to be like, "No one, you chose us." And it's going to be a great post.
Dude, all the fans are going to, yeah, you chose that matchup.
They're going to try to plant their flag, and there'll be a brawl, and the guys will get tear gas. It'll be awesome.
That's like when A&M pays these teams to come to College Station and beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, $1 million.
I've never asked you this, Drew. Flag planting, yes or no?
No.
All right.
I mean, I just don't care. Like, you won the game. Like, what are we planting flags for?
You would defend the turf if someone tried to plant the flag at DKR?
I'm going to do it with my team.
He's 19. Of course he was going to defend them.
Hey, I was going to say, Drew.
We're all
like, what are we doing?
Now is like, in the big picture, why would I do that? I could injure him and he could sue me.
No, I'm definitely doing what my team's doing. So what are we doing? Okay,
are we fighting, doing it. Or are we just going to the locker room?
Yeah.
Like, what do we got going? So, yeah, I don't care about that. That's it's stupid. You play on the road at a place every other year. You can't say you own their turf. You don't play there every year. I do see.
Drew is taking this so analytically.
Man.
Like, is the win not enough? What are you planning?
What's the creepy thing? It's like it's not enough that I should win; it's that others shall lose. You know, so it's.
I remember
it's not enough that we win; it's that our enemies must also.
I don't know, man. Have you seen? What game was that we won? Was it Michigan? I remember Will Winston was one of our backup offensive tackles. He had the Texas flag, and he was trying to wave it, and the flag got all wrapped up around it.
Yeah,
everything. We're not built for flags. We shouldn't be holding flags. We shouldn't be running with flags.
They're a little more unwieldy than you realize.
It's just there's no swagger with it. It's just you try to run with it.
Yeah.
We got to leave the flags alone. Let the flag guards or whoever does.
What about if you fly a kite? It has the Texas logo on it. And you know what's funny? And you just fly a kite all around their stadium. Does that have swag?
I would love for somebody to score a touchdown and then go grab a flag, go grab a kite and just run back down the sideline. Just let that thing roll. Yeah, let's do that. I would like that much more than trying to run to the middle of somebody's field with your flag.
It's everything is so trend based though. Now that's going to be
it's just don't do it unless you're going to let us fight.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know what it's going to provoke. So you go do the flag thing.
Do you remember the really big game, the Joe Burrow LSU team, where they came out in the pregame warmups and drank our water? And then everybody's like, we gotta fight them. They drank our water.
Dude, we're so dumb as fans. I love this. Fans are incredible. Man, we're not.
I feel like unless you get a chance to really fight, trying to sneak out there with the flag or doing the flag, like do the flag knowing we have to throw hands after. Like you can't just do it just when we planted the flag. It's like no, like now we got to throw hands.
Yeah.
Another thought. I think this is as good as my kite idea. In the good game line, good game. You put it like kick me or hook them or something on a little sticky pad, and you put it on their back as they go by.
Paul, they don't do the actual good game. That's from high school.
That's when I stopped playing.
Line up on the 50-yard line.
I wasn't good enough, dude.
It would be hilarious if we all had to do the high school good game.
Could you imagine if after a college or NFL game, you had to go good game?
Yeah, dude. It made me laugh. There's always one kid that would always say something still in the game line.
Well, we had to wear our helmets during that.
There's always a couple players you got to watch out for because they just think they're going to get revenge at the end of the game. Like they're going to go seek out the dude that they have to go say something to, and it's like the game's over, man. We won. Like we don't need to. The fact we have to police things like that, I don't see it now, but there were some players we had to police every game. It's like, dude, you got into a little scuffle on special teams.
Yeah. That is funny.
And he's going to go look up the guy and cause a big problem. And you're trying to catch up with a dude you played high school football with.
Can we go, right. Can we just go holler at the people we need to talk to and then go sing the eyes and go home?
See, this maturity, Connor, this was representative of that Texas national championship team. You had guys like Drew, Rod Wright, Ocam, who are like, gentlemen, this is not like, what are we doing? This is not helping our.
Let's think rationally about this, gentlemen.
They're very rational, like mature guys who are like 20 going on 40 when they were in college, right?
I don't like fights unless we get to fight.
Yeah.
Right. It's just weird. My favorite thing is when people fight, everyone's wearing helmets and pads. There's no risk of any injury occurring, but everyone's acting very tough.
If I'm going to pick a fight, I want to be able to complete the fight. I don't want to be pulled off. I don't want you pulled off. I don't find myself in a situation where I'm like this. I can want to fight, but somebody's going to stop me. So why are we doing this?
It's performative 99% of the time because everyone's going to break it up, and it's just a.
The thing is, actually, I think a lot of football players would fight, but it's hard to fight.
Yeah,
in that scenario. Whereas NBA players do not want to fight.
Yeah,
no.
Unless you got a small handful of Charles Oakley type dudes, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot of it's like hold me back.
Yeah, hold me back, brother.
Hold me back. But we do want to get into one of these in the offseason. We're going to talk about the nickname Druce Leroy at some point.
Yeah.
Man, that has some fighter origins.
Drew used to have the glow back in the day. Show enough.
All right. We can now go watch Ohio State, Tennessee. And then I didn't know we had 10 days till the next game. I thought it was automatically on Saturday. So that's good. That's good news, Paul. Thanks for letting me know that.
I like the last 2 weeks, I wrote 37 different varieties of preview about Clemson.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to do the same about Arizona State. But
yeah.
Good news is Clemson was who I thought they were. So good deal.
And hopefully Arizona State is who you think they are.
I think they are.
All right, fans. Thank you guys so much. This was, of course, the Inside Texas Football post-game show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. This is fun. And on to Arizona State. Thank you, fans. Hook 'em, y'all.